is up? Yay! We getting it, boy.
What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Your baller back again. Smells like football season.
Yo!
Yeah.
Whoa!
What's up, faithful, or what's down? I don't even know what to call it right now, man. What a devastating, crushing loss. There's no other way to put it. I could pretend to be excited and all these great things. I mean, hey, man, life is still good, but man, it was absolutely devastating. There's no way to put it. I was in shock, didn't sleep well at all. Uh, how are you guys doing? What up, my man Eric? What up, my man Jay in the Bay? What's good with you guys?
Man, I'm still feeling hungover, not from alcohol consumption, just from the low of it's a feeling that's becoming all too familiar, fellas. Just this letdown in big games where you feel like you have it. The Super Bowl is within reach and we don't get it done. It stings, it hurts. So I'm still kind of feeling some of that pain. But hey, you know, win or lose, we're still going to be here to talk some ball. So glad to see you, fellas.
Likewise.
Hey, I echo your sentiments. E, good to be back with you guys. I take this live stream tonight, especially as a therapy session. So I'm glad I get to hang out with you guys and talk 49er ball. And obviously, we didn't have the outcome that we wanted, but I guess hey, there's still light at the end of the tunnel, and I can't wait to break it down with you guys.
Absolutely, man. That's what it is. A venting session. Man, I wish I would have did it right after the game and got it out. It was just, hey, but we had a bit, man. It was a great turnout, man. We hosted our first Super Bowl party, and it was lit. It was amazing. A lot of people, wife went above and beyond, and just a good time overall until the end, man. And one of my daughters, my youngest daughter, man, she's not too much on it, but she hears the way I talk about it, and she remembers the past few years, and all she's been telling me all year is, "Don't get too excited, Dad." Or that there was one phrase she would say, and it was something along the lines of, "Don't get your hopes up," I think is what she would say. Dad, like, man, I've seen that, I've heard this before, and she really don't know nothing about it. And soon as it was over, man, my youngest comes up to me, "I told you, Dad," and just walks away like a mic drop, bro. But it almost, man, she's so real and so blunt, just her personality, and she's a lot of the times on point. And it's just, man, it brought a smile to my heart. You know what I'm saying? Typically, maybe in the past, I'd have got upset, but it was just like, dang, you were right, Kayla. You was on point. And yeah, man, it showed itself, man. This is a venting session. So hey, I'll kind of go first. And, I had high hopes. I thought Kyle took a lot of steps this year on not being as arrogant as he normally used to be. And, 3-4 years ago, I started my channel, man. That was some of the first things I talked about, was just calling Kyle out, was like, hey, what's up with restoring legacy? I've heard all these promises. Or, Jed York talking about we don't hang championship banners, things of those nature. And so I would always kind of question Kyle, y'all know me, and I try to be more cool this year, just it looked like he's leveling up, and I feel like he reverted back. That's just the way I feel in kind of almost all ways. Even of course he's mad, of course he's upset, but just even the simple question that Grant Cohn asked him after the game: how do you assess the offense? And just the whole, even if he is mad, it's like he was treating every other reporter, it seemed like, with respect. And soon as he seen him kind of try to lightweight yoke up and just gave, I don't know, man. It's just, I'm frustrated. Especially, I haven't heard people talk
He
too
didn't take
much.
accountability. Sorry to cut you off, Jay, but with Grant's question, he didn't
Rich.
take accountability.
Hey,
my
yeah.
bad. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He dismissed him. He dismissed him, and just freaking, it just shows me the arrogance and the immaturity and all those kind of things, man. That's how I feel. Like, if I'm gonna, really bring it, and it just feels like it all kind of came back. I was heated right before halftime. You know, that was one of the things that made me the most mad before I learned, because I didn't listen to anything or see anything all the way until later on today or this morning. So I didn't even know about the rule thing at the end. So, because I didn't go to anything, no outlets, no pre-games, no nothing. I was done, you know, didn't want to hear a word. I was going to try to do it all the way until the show, just to have nothing but my thoughts in my mind. You feel me? But I couldn't help myself. So, you know, I've been looking into even the rule thing. I don't know if you guys seen that, but he obviously wasn't aware, because when he was asked directly after the Super Bowl, you know, Kyle told one of the reporters, you know, I was hoping we would score to not give Mahomes the ball back. That right there lets you know that he didn't even know. He did not even know that, nah, he's getting the ball back no matter what. It's just mind blowing to me that you are the head coach. You got 2 weeks to prepare for the biggest game after having the door slammed in your face over and over and over, and you don't even know the rule change. You need to be working on this. Like, it's your job to have your players up on every scenario. The Chiefs have been working on this the past 2, 3 weeks. They've been saying it's just the rules, the whole, all of it, man. So it's just, it just, kind of no words. It's like, you know, I kind of tried to make myself feel like, you know, maybe he did take steps up and level up in certain areas, but I'm going to let you guys take it off and let some more ammo come back for me. What up, Amin? How you doing, my man? Damn, I wanted it for your generation, bro. Even more so. My son was there with me, and man, yeah, it's hard, man. How you doing, Amin?
Just like, I don't know how to feel. Like, I honestly don't know how to feel. Like the 2019 one, it hurt. Like, I was like a couple years younger. I cried that night in 2019 because we were up by 10 and then you end up blowing it. After yesterday, I just didn't know how to feel. Like, I didn't know if I wanted to cry. I didn't know if I wanted to scream. I didn't know how to feel yesterday because it just hurt that bad. Like, it was a game that you could have won, and I don't care what the national media says. It wasn't that Mahomes went out there and beat you. He made the plays when it mattered, sure. But you guys, the Niners beat themselves. If you really watched that game, yes, did Mahomes make the plays when they needed to? Yeah, but that touchdown on that muffed punt that they converted on. I mean, the Niners, you get an interception at near midfield at the 50-yard line, and you can't even put up a field goal. Like, just, I mean, we're gonna talk about it, but it's just the Niners honestly beat themselves, and that's what hurt the most about this loss, is that you could have won this game and you were dominating the Chiefs for 3.5 quarters, you could say. You were beating the Chiefs for 3.5 quarters, offensively, defensively. You could even argue special teams before that muff punt. Like, you were really doing your thing on all three phases of the game. You were playing excellent. And you were the better team yesterday. You were playing like the better team yesterday. But when it mattered most, you guys just didn't come through. And that's just what hurts the most, is that this Niners team played well enough to win yesterday. They were playing great on defense. Offensively, it wasn't great, but for the most part, you still played well enough to win that game, with especially how well that defense was playing. And then to end up losing the way that you did, I mean, it just hurts.
How you feeling, Jay?
Hey, I just want to say what's good to everyone in the chat. Appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream tonight. Man, where do I start? I felt like how other people have felt in the chat. There were just a lot of opportunities out there that were just missed. I do want to give credit to Pat Mahomes and that Chiefs team. At the end of the day, like Amin said, they made plays. We didn't, and their superstars played their best, and ours didn't. You look at Chris Jones, you look at the impact he made. You look at Travis Kelce. Kelce only had one catch in the first half. And what did he do in the second half? He had 8 catches. On a fourth down play, or I think it was a third and long play, Kelce is manned up mano against our best coverage linebacker, Fred Warner. And what did he do to him? Like, he basically juked him at the line. And basically their players were better than ours in the key moments. that's what it came down to. Also, the mistakes. I mean, you can't have your best offensive lineman commit 2 straight penalties. That's ridiculous. You can't have a false start on a punt. Like, what are we doing? And it's weird because our 3 playoff games, it's almost like we played our worst football. Like, we never played a complete 60-game football game, and it's hard to stomach. And something else is going to come, I'm sure. I'm running out of steam right now, but go ahead, Baller. That's what I got for right now.
No, I love that you touched on the mistakes, because when you're playing Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, you can't make all these mistakes. You know, you got to play a clean football game. The Niners didn't do it, and it started out with the opening drive. You know, I was feeling good. Niners were driving it down the field. It really felt like we were going to punch it in the end zone. And then the offensive player of the year coughs it up, and it was just, even right there, it felt like I just got punched in the gut. You know, that hurt. And then the botched punt just completely changed the game. At that point, I want to say it was 10-6. Chiefs hadn't even got into the end zone yet. And the botched punt, which, fellas, why is Darrell Luter out there over Sam Womack? Like, we know how many plays Sam Womack has made as a gunner, pinning balls, you know, inside the 5. Like, Womack's a good special teamer. So I would love someone to ask why they suited up Darrell Luter instead of Sam Womack, who has a little more experience. I mean, Darrell Luter was injured like the first half of the year, and he's a rookie. Like, I don't get it. The ball hit off his foot. Absolute game-changing play.
Ray's got to fall on that, though. Ray, you got to fall on that. Like, why are you trying to pick it up and run? Who are you going to run from? Like, just fall on it. I don't get it.
You're right. Defensively, this game is not on the defense, in my opinion. I mean, the first 9 drives, the Chiefs went punt, fumble, punt, field goal, interception, punt, field goal, punt. Like, come on.
I was lit. Lit, man.
The defense, you know, they started, you know, they started giving up some plays later, you know, in the fourth quarter. But, you know, first 9 possessions, the Chiefs had.
And Chase Young showed up. I mean,
yeah,
Chase Young had the best game of his career in a uniform. I mean,
and not only Chase, too, Jay, because
Chase Young showed up.
I thought the whole D line, we've been giving this defensive line a lot of flack, right?
Yeah.
They're getting paid a lot of money. You know, there's a lot of talent. And I think we were relatively disappointed with the production that they gave us this year. But in the Super Bowl, I thought these guys showed up. Nick Bosa had 10 pressures, right? Yeah. Chase Young, you guys we saw the instant sack he had. Like, he was making plays. I saw Randy Gregory just throw down the left tackle.
Yeah.
You know, Javon Hargrave made some plays. Eric Armstead made some plays. Like, I thought the D-line finally showed up. And
Kinlaw was in there. I'm pretty sure Kinlaw flashed. All of them was showing up, man.
This game was not on the defense, fellas. 19 points after 4 quarters.
Yeah.
It ain't going to cut it. You're not going to beat Patrick Mahomes having 19 points after 4. It could have been 20 if Moody makes the extra point. That being said, that's not going to cut it. You know, and then as far as Kyle, the 3 and outs to start the second half, you know, not running the ball, you know, that is a big question. And I know we can kind of always go back and, you know, we have hindsight, right? I loved how Kyle was aggressive at one point in the game. The Niners were down 13-10, right? And Kyle went for it on that 4th and 3. He went for it. I'm thinking, all right, Kyle, let's go.
Finally.
30 hits Kittle. Kittle's fighting for it. Then at the very end of the game, Kyle has a chance to be aggressive again, to win the Super Bowl, to do it. And it's 3rd and 4 after the 2-minute warning. And in my mind, you got 2 plays to get 4 yards. That's what I'm thinking. You got 2 plays to get 4 yards, because if you get that first down, you can't run all the clock off. The Chiefs still had 2 timeouts, but you're going to run a lot of that clock off. Like, Mahomes might have got the ball back with like 40 seconds, either down a field goal and no timeouts, or, if the Niners punched it in the end zone, then you're really feeling good. But he elected to pass. And I can't wait for the all 22 to come out, because I really thought Kyle didn't have a game plan for the blitz. I thought Purdy was running for his life back there. I don't know what the game plan was. The offensive line, there were too many free rushers. So that was my biggest disappointment. You knew Spags was going to send the heat, and I don't think the Niners had the answers for it.
And somebody told me today, well said, Baller, well, we're number one versus the blitz all year. We've been dicing every team up all year versus the blitz. No, we didn't versus the Browns. We didn't do it versus the Browns. We didn't do it versus the Ravens because they got really good freaking defenses, just like Kansas City. And so it's like you said, it just fell out of rhythm and unprepared in the Super Bowl with our offense when we had been clicking all year long. And when it is a little bit more of a struggle, you got to go to CMC in those moments, man. You got to go to your power. It's just, I feel like it's 2012 over again when we had 4 plays on the goal line versus the Ravens, and we want to throw fade passes to Crabtree, and like you were just talking about, Baller, we go empty set and leave our quarterback vulnerable and already giving our hand away to show the defense, okay, we're gonna pass. Okay, let's run CMC in motion and do a little fake handoff. That ain't doing nothing. That didn't do nothing. But even that fake handoff probably took one tick away from Purdy being able to see a wide open Ayuk. And then it's a blown coverage, like, I don't know, kind of like almost the Philadelphia game last year where Brock's arm got. It's just like, it's sad to see it go down that way to where we didn't go to our strength. We got JJ who is a dog when it comes to blocking. Kyle Juszczyk, Trent Williams, George Kittle. That's like our power. How many highlights and how many times have we seen Ayuk running downfield blocking folks and 2 plays to get 4 yards? And it's just disheartening. It's like Kyle overthought it or underthought it. He didn't even know the rules at the end, and players didn't know the rules, and just all of it feels, for me, it feels right back to lukewarm, and it's the same shit. It reared its head. It's like, and it feels like there's something scared, or it feels like there's this guys like Grant Cohn will call Kyle on his shit, and it feels like a lot of other people are scared of him, or maybe even Jed. Like, I don't know. I remember Harbaugh got fired for what it seemed like a lot less. And back in those days, 10 years ago, the famous, when Jed York fired Harbaugh, he said, hey, we ain't hanging championship banners. We ain't hanging division banners. We're hanging Super Bowl banners. And until I get that right, hold me accountable. It just, he went through that whole speech, and it's like, well, it's 10 years later and it's the exact same thing, but even worse, it's happening more. It's like,
Jed never should have signed Shanahan to a contract extension. I think that's clear. But I think, honestly, from Jed's point of view, I think he's happy. His team is relevant. He doesn't have to speak.
I think he is too.
The stadium is sold out. Like, coming from firing Harbaugh to hiring Tom Sula, Chip Kelly, and now he's where he is now.
I believe it. I believe he's content.
He loves his investment right now. Yeah, he's content.
Exactly. And that's sad. And that's sad. And that's, for me, that's hella sad, because it's like, I know I shouldn't be in the past, but that was one of the greatest things about my childhood memories was 5-0. And just even, and I know times has changed and it's not that way and yada yada. And I know the argument, but man, I held on to that. I held on to it hard. We're 5-0. We're the best in the world, baby. Ain't nothing messing with the Niners. And now,
I feel it. I know Kyle's been taking some heat, and rightfully so. He was not perfect in this game, but to say you wish you didn't sign him to the extension, I would disagree with that, just because in my mind, if I'm looking at a list of coaches, all the coaches in the NFL, like, there's a clear top 3 in my mind, and it's Andy Reid. I'm going to give the respect to Bill Belichick and put him in there, even though he hasn't looked the same without Brady. And then it's Kyle Shanahan. And
I'm just curious though. Where's the motivation? Where's the need to extend him when he hasn't won the big game? I was just thinking, what head coach in the NFL?
I got you. I got you.
What head coach in the NFL has not won a ring, but they got extended?
I want to push back on the Kyle being top 3 though, because I think Kyle is undoubtedly maybe the best play designer in the NFL, but head coach. I could argue that Matt Eberflus might be a better head coach and leader of men in situational football. We know Kyle dials it up better than anybody on offense. But as a head coach, there's so many more things that go into head coach. And if you don't,
I don't think he was. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so going to the rule thing, I think that's a fireable offense. It's not going to happen, but how can you not know the rules? They're not going to. I know there's no way they're going to do it. But I'm just saying, like, for you not to know the rules, which I heard different arguments about what should you defer at the coin toss? Should you accept it? I didn't really think it mattered. I just think you can't expect to kick a field goal and think, oh, well, we're just going to stop Pat Mahomes. He's not going to just go right down the field and score a touchdown, which is exactly what he did. I just think you still have to be aggressive and go for that touchdown. I just think that didn't matter. But yeah, he should know the rules. The players should know. And yeah, it's unforgivable that he didn't know the rules and he didn't have his players prepared for that moment. Like,
are we sure he didn't know the rules? I'm sorry, because we've been saying this. Are we sure he didn't know the rules? Because I listened to the post-game presser and the way he validated taking the ball in overtime was he said, "Look, if we took the ball because we wanted that third possession first, the sudden death. Because if it goes field goal, it's sudden death. And if the Niners take it, it's their ball."
I believe he was asked before that. I know I seen the clip. It was just him, and I don't know the reporter's name, but they were off by themselves. And so I'm assuming it was before. It could have been right. It was either right before or right after what you seen, Baller, because I seen that as well. But the guy asked him. I wish I could go to Twitter and I'm good with all these technology things, but it would take me a little while. But so he asked him, about it. He said, I wanted to go score and not give him another chance. So that it's like he said it without saying it. It's like he kind of caught himself up without, if that makes sense. So he was under the impression if we scored the touchdown, they weren't getting the ball back no matter what.
And that's what I know. Juszczyk definitely thought that too. That's
and Armstead.
And that's on the coach, man. And how many times have we talked about them not even practicing 2-minute drills and just all these kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's like it all kind of makes sense. I mean, we know what's up, and it's kind of reminiscent of Garoppolo a little bit. Shanahan. Hey, listen, he could be the greatest. He could be the greatest play designer in the world, but if you're not doing those little things in the offseason, if you're not making sure you're because if you're just stuck in nothing but your play sheet and you don't know how to improvise when shit goes south, you don't know the clock managements, you don't know how to take advantage, you don't know the difference of having a minute 30 before the half compared to 15 seconds you're content with walking it in versus Pat Mahomes, you don't know the situation you're in. Your play sheet ain't going to save you for all scenarios, and I think he's so stuck in that sheet and the next play and how he's going to draw up this next stuff. We talked a few weeks ago how he might need another guy next to him to just someone to help him out with some of those things. You can't do it all. And I feel like he lets the arrogance and pride, I could be wrong on some of these things, but that's just the way it feels.
You're right that he's arrogant and he's prideful, but I think Jed has fueled that, or at least helped fuel it. You gave him an extension. He ain't won nothing. Yeah, he's been successful, no doubt, but Jed, you didn't even, you're contradicting yourself by saying, oh, we want to do is just hang championship banners. But then you go ahead and extend them. And no wonder Shanahan feels like, oh, well, it's my system. I don't have to answer your question, Grant. I can do what I want. He's content.
I'm entitled. Right. I run this shit, and who's gonna question it? You know what I'm saying? The way Kyle looks at it, oh, who's gonna question? Oh, little old Grant, like, that ain't phasing me. I run this shit. And it's sad as a 49er, that diehard fans and the players that put their heart on it, and the fans that travel from freaking Germany and put their hearts on it, and for our leader to be representing the red and gold this way, for me, is embarrassing, and it pisses me off, bro. And that's just being real. But what's up, Amin? I haven't heard you for a minute. I know you got something else. The Lakers, man. I think the Lakers are going on a good run, my man.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I told Jay, like ain't nobody like I told him backstage last night, like ain't nobody give a damn about Usher in the halftime show. Like ain't nobody
Hey,
give a
that was a
damn
clean
about
show,
the
man.
Lakers. Ain't
That was
nobody give
off
a
the
damn about the
chain,
Lakers
man.
right now.
Usher,
I'm saying
Usher,
it. Like
Usher showed up. Chase Young showed up. It's like everybody showed up except for Kyle. It's like, what happened? What happened?
Hey, real quick. If you ain't got nothing to mean, real quick. I think you can blame Kyle, but at the end of the day, you also have to blame the players for their mistakes. Kyle's not responsible
Of
for
course.
CMC fumbling. Hey, maybe CMC, maybe the moment was too big for CMC in the first drive. Maybe he had nerves. The brother ain't fumbled since October 23rd. Wrap it up. He also, I think, 2 players ripped at the ball. I don't know,
yeah.
but CMC ain't fumbled since I think it was October 23rd. So it's been a minute, but we had great momentum. The Chiefs weren't stopping anything on that first drive, and for him to fumble, that was huge.
We were winning
That
in
ain't
the
his fault.
trenches. We were winning in the trenches,
Right,
fellas.
right.
Even oh, go ahead. My bad, Jay.
Like Eric said, the defense, you really couldn't ask for a better performance. I mean, 6 points. Yes, the Chiefs scored that touchdown at the end, but that was because of the muff punt. And Ray, you just got to fall on it, man. You just can't allow that to happen. And I thought Bosa, he not only did he play well, but I think Romo mentioned it on the broadcast how he was keeping his outside shoulder free. So when Mahomes would dart out to the right, Bosa was right there. So that was one of the best games I saw from Bosa, all year. Do you want to just real quick? You want to hit this super chat real quick?
Oh, yeah. Holy shit! How many? Man, I just been trying to focus on y'all. My bad, chat. I love y'all. Hey, it's been rough for everybody. My heart goes out to everybody, man. I know we love our Niners. We're going to continue to love our Niners. But understand, I do also want to say that I know Kyle's a part of the 49ers, but sometimes, like, leadership, if it's not being done right, it needs to be spoke up on, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes people feel like if you're calling out Chase Young that you don't like him or you're hating it. Hey, that's just coming for me. I can always speak for myself. That's just because I love it that much, man. So but we got I don't want to mess the name up, baller.
I would say Darice.
I'll just say Darice, $10. I don't know who got this one, but 49ers been elite for 5 years. Elite. They've been close to elite, but I hear you. They'd win with Baker. Can you just imagine if you sign Lamar? That would be a wrap. It'd be a straight up wrap. It would be unlawful with just Shanahan, Kittle, AU. Man, part of me, listening to what Jay said about the players, like I feel like football stuff happens and coaching stuff happens too, but it's just tough, man. It's because I don't feel like, I feel like Kyle Shanahan can have a Mahomes and can have a Barry Sanders, a Walter Payton. He could go get a Larry Allen and a Joe Staley coming out of retirement. He could have an all-pro. We got an all-pro offense, and he still did the same thing that he did 4 years ago. So to me, only for me, maybe y'all disagree, but
Nah,
he
Kels,
can have the best of the best, and Kyle has shown he is who he is no matter who he has. That's just how I see it.
I feel it because even if like people throw out like that scenario right there on that super chat, Lamar Jackson, Kyle Shanahan would never let Lamar Jackson be Lamar Jackson. The way that Kyle Shanahan runs his system, Lamar Jackson.
We just seen Lamar versus this KC defense.
Like like Kyle Shanahan would never even think about signing Lamar Jackson, right? Like it would never work. Even Mahomes, like I love Mahomes, but you have to understand part of Mahomes' success is yes, Andy Reid, but it's all like in his play call and his scheme and everything like that. But Andy Reid lets Mahomes play that backyard style of football and he lets Mahomes do him, right? Brock Purdy, even when Brock Purdy, like you hear Brock Purdy the Super Bowl, like the press conferences and things like that pregame, he's like, "It's great, Shanahan lets me run the system. I learned a lot from him." Like Brock Purdy runs the system. He does a great job of running the system, and there's nothing wrong with that. But Kyle Mahomes wouldn't like. And I'm being honest. As much as how great this team is and how great Kyle Shanahan is, Mahomes wouldn't be Mahomes in this offense. And yes, is Mahomes spectacular? Yes, would we probably win Super Bowls with Mahomes and this team? Yeah, because the talent on this team and Mahomes is just. If you have the best quarterback in the league and all this talent, like yeah, you could probably still win a Super Bowl. But I wouldn't say Mahomes is the Chiefs MVP, Patrick Mahomes, spectacular, greatest player, arguably the greatest player of all time, greatest quarterback of all time on this Niners team. Like I don't think he's that. I would say he could probably win an MVP if he was on this Niners. The Niners would probably win a Super Bowl because his team would be too damn talented not to. But would Mahomes be in that greatest quarterback of all time debate? No, I don't think so. Going back to the thing about how Jed York was saying we're not hanging up divisional banners and things like that. He said that to get rid of Harbaugh. Like I'm gonna be honest about that. Like Harbaugh was doing great and he was freaking phenomenal. And you wouldn't fire a guy after coming off multiple NFC Championship games, multiple Super Bowl appearance. The only reason they fired Harbaugh was obviously because of that relationship of him and York. They weren't getting along, and then to make it acceptable, he said that answer of we're not hanging up divisional banners and NFC Championship banners. We're hanging up Super Bowl banners because Harbaugh wasn't able to get it done. Not because Harbaugh wasn't a good enough coach. Not because Harbaugh, if he was still on this team, wouldn't have given the Niners a good chance to win. Because he had a bad relationship with the coach, and the only way that it would look acceptable to the media and the national, to the NFL and the national media, the only way it would be acceptable to fire Jim Harbaugh was that answer. Otherwise, there was no other reason to say, Jim Harbaugh, you took us to NFC Championship games and the playoffs. We've won divisions, and we're firing you. Like that doesn't really like add up, right? Especially if you kept Kyle Shanahan. So that answer isn't really Jed York saying we set the standard of we only want to win Super Bowls. That's Jed York saying I have an issue with my coach, and that's an acceptable answer for me to get rid of him. If that was really the case, Jed, if it was really the case for you winning Super Bowls, Kyle Shanahan probably wouldn't be here right now because he hasn't been able to get it done. Regardless of the situation he hasn't been able to get it done. So if you were really serious about winning Super Bowls, you'd be like, Kyle,
Hey,
if you stack up the resumes, dude, Jim Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan. Now I'm not talking all time and long term because Jim Harbaugh obviously has a national championship. Every place he's gone, he's turned it into a winning program. But if you really look at their time on the Niners, it's similar. It's similar-ish. Like it's similar. It's really similar. So if you were really serious about winning championships, I don't know if Kyle Shanahan would be here right now. In terms of the game, offensively, everybody's talking about should the Niners have run the ball more. But like the same thing with the Ravens and the Chiefs game and the AFC Championship game. The Ravens played into the Chiefs' hands. The Ravens ranked, I think, number 1 or like top 5 in the run game this year. And what did the Chiefs do? They made Lamar Jackson throw the ball. And what did the Ravens end up doing? They kept throwing the ball. So in that situation, the Ravens played into the Chiefs' hands. And even Legere Sneed said post-game, we want them to throw the ball. And hypothetically speaking, if you're the Chiefs, do I want to have the best running back go for 100+ yards and cook me on the ground? No. I'd rather have Brock Purdy throw the ball because I know Spagnuolo is going to, send out these blitz and these blitz packages, and that's going to make my quarterback anxious. That's going to, disrupt certain plays. So, yes, I want you to throw the ball. I don't want you running the ball. And Kyle Shanahan kind of played into that. Am I blaming Kyle Shanahan for this loss? No, I ain't blaming Kyle Shanahan for this loss. But was he the reason? Was he the weakest coach on this team this week? Yes, I think the special teams was better. I think Steve Wilks coached a much better game. I think he got outcoached by Steve Wilks on Sundays. Kyle Shanahan wasn't on his A+ game. He wasn't on his B+ game. I like the aggressiveness. It was like a 4th and 2, I think, late in the third quarter. They were down 10-13. It was fourth quarter, early fourth quarter. They were down 10-13. Kyle Shanahan goes for it on 4th and 2. Kittle makes that dive. You score a touchdown. I like that aggressiveness. That's what I like, Kyle. But at the same time, with 1 minute left, you really want to give the ball back to Patrick. I said it last stream. Giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes is like giving 10 seconds on the clock to Jordan. It's like,
yep.
You really want to give the ball back to Jordan? No, because Jordan could double clutch that. He could shoot it from half court. He could do whatever. I would still feel really confident if I'm a Chiefs fan or I'm a Bulls fan if Jordan has the ball. You don't want to do that. if you're in that 4th down scenario, even Tony Romo said it. It's too. This could be. You could go for it on 3rd and 4th. I'm like, I can't even but this is 2-down territory. This is 2-down territory, and instead, Kyle Shanahan went for the safe, and he went for the field goal, which is fine. I get it, but that's too much time for Mahomes. You already know Mahomes is gonna go down there. It's like it's inevitable. Like if you really didn't think Mahomes was gonna go down there and kick that field goal, like I expected it. I expected the game to go to OT. I didn't expect the Niners defense to close Mahomes out because it was gonna happen. Another thing that irritated me, and this might be me personally, and I'm not gonna fault Wilkes because I think he had a phenomenal game plan going into the game. He had a he outcoached Kyle. But the thing that irked me the most was there was 3 times, at least I remember, 3 times where it was 3rd down on crucial moments of the game. It was 3rd and 6, it was 3rd and 4, and Steve Wilkes, you kept bringing all-out blitz, and Mahomes kept converting. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And the issue I had with that is, fine, you call it once, it doesn't work. Okay, you played the gamble, you put it all out there, it didn't work. You call it the 2nd time, it's still a risk, but you want to do it, fine. You call it the 3rd time, thinking there's going to be a different outcome. Did Mahomes get out the game? Did he get hurt? Is it a different quarterback? No, Mahomes has cooked it 3 times, yet you called it again on 3rd and 6, and they converted for a 4th down. I think it was either 4th quarter or late in the game. I'm not saying we lost because of Wilkes, but that's just laziness. That's laziness, right? Like, I can't even explain, like, what was the thought process behind it? 3 times, and it was all on 3rd down. It wasn't on 1st, it was each on 3rd down in crucial situations where you call a blitz, all-out blitz, and even Tony Romo said on the last one, he was like, I think their Niners are disguising that they're bringing all-out blitz and they're going to drop back. Nope. He calls the same thing. I'm like, what are you expecting? It's like doing the same thing, yet expecting a different outcome 3 times. That's just laziness. And, like, I don't know what else to put it. I don't know what the coaching decision was. We don't do that in Madden. Like, we don't.
Only I do that in Madden.
Only you do that in Madden, right? Like, Steve Wilkes is running like you in Madden, but like it's on 3rd down, but like it's just unacceptable. 3 times running that, expecting a different outcome. Every single one being on 3rd down, unacceptable. I'm also not blaming Kyle for this loss because the interception where you couldn't convert a touchdown, unacceptable. The CMC fumble, like, unfortunate, but the Chiefs also fumbled, right? But that punt, it hurt you. Like, that punt, it hurt you. Like, that's the thing. You can't make mistakes like that. And the Eagles last year were so freaking close to winning that game, yet Jalen Hurts had that one fumble, and that kind of turned the game in the Chiefs' favor, and they ended up winning, right? And they ended up winning that game. The Chiefs ended up winning that game, but you got to be perfect to beat Mahomes. You have to be really perfect. And even if you're not perfect, you have to be as close as perfect as possible. And if you're not, and if you make mistakes like that, like, it's going to cost you. It's kind of, like, I don't know why, but it reminded me of that Packers game. That Packers-Niners game, not this year, but it was 2021, where the Packers probably should have went up, like, 20-0 in the 1st quarter on us, and they didn't, and then the Niners got that one special teams block. Lo and behold, Robbie Gould kicks the field goal, and we end up winning that game. Like, you can't. One thing that the only time Mahomes has lost the Super Bowl was against the Bucs, and the Bucs offense kept scoring to the point where even if Mahomes wanted to come back, he couldn't because it was like 34-9. Like, he couldn't do anything, right? So even if you're in that situation on the Niners, like, you have to put up points offensively, and if you don't, Mahomes is light work. Like, 10-3 is light work for Mahomes. 10-7 it's light work for Mahomes. 16-13, it's light work for Mahomes. Jake Moody, like, I'm proud of you that you made the 2 field goals. I was sweating. I was like, he's gonna miss it. Watch, he's gonna miss it. He made those 2 50-yarders, but the PAT, like, I can't have that. Like, I can't have that, right? So am I blaming it all on Kyle? No, there was obviously other mistakes like the Moody, like the Christian McCaffrey fumble, like the I'm gonna say it, Steve Wilkes bringing blitz 3 times. Like, there was questionable decisions like that. And Kyle Shanahan, you could have done a much better job offensively, but it was just, like, it was ugly. And that's the sad part, is that everybody's talking about Mahomes. He's the GOAT. You'll never be able to win with Mahomes. No, if you really watch this game, we were dominating Mahomes for 3.5 quarters. I'm not saying offensively. But
Twice.
defensively, Mahomes was rattled. He didn't know what
Twice.
to do. He was
And that was
struggling.
without blitzing. I mean, that was
And that
without
was without
blitzing.
blitzing. And that's
The
the point. Like,
defensive
that's what
line,
I
I got to give credit to the D line because the rush lanes were awesome. They were containing Mahomes.
Yep.
Mahomes was trying to escape the pocket so badly, but Bosa was holding the edge, and I was really feeling good about how this D line was playing. But I agree with you. I mean,
But then
I
why
don't know
would you bring blitz? Why would you bring
Yeah,
blitz when your
that's-
D line is playing that great all game? Like I was thinking about it earlier today, and like you mentioned it because I was thinking about it earlier today. I'm like, why would you bring it 3 times, especially when your D line was playing like that? When Chase Young was giving his A+ effort, making plays, Randy Gregory was dropping dudes. Like, why would you call all out blitz? It's not like your defensive line isn't getting pressure on Mahomes and making Mahomes' life uncomfortable. Like they're making Mahomes' life hell right now. So that didn't make sense. But I mean, if Kyle Shanahan, one thing also, if Kyle Shanahan didn't know the overtime rules, that's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable in the biggest game, which is a Super Bowl, in a playoff game. Not to mention just a normal playoff game. This is the Super Bowl. This is the championship game. It's not the NBA where you have a 7-game series. You lose tonight, you can bounce back. You still have an opportunity to go out
And you've been
and
here.
win
Like,
game 2. You've been here, dude, and you're not, and you don't know the overtime rules. And not to mention, Kyle Juszczyk, Eric Armstead, I don't know what you guys are doing on the sideline, right? But literally, Bill Vinovich, the referee, said it before the coin toss. He's like, both teams get possession of the ball. Both teams will have opportunities to score touchdowns. Unless the defense gets a touchdown, both teams will have the opportunity to touch the ball. Do I understand Kyle Shanahan's mindset? Let's go down there and score a touchdown. But if you're going down there and scoring a touchdown, you go down there, if you want the ball first, you go down there to freaking score a touchdown, not to score a field goal, because you already know the Chiefs don't give a shit about a field goal. They're going down there to win the game.
And then
They're
they
not
go
going
empty
down.
set. And then they
Yeah,
go
they're not
empty
going
set
down
on
there.
3rd and 4.
They're not going down there to kick a field goal and tie the game with you to go to double overtime. Like, no, they're going down there to freaking win the game and score a touchdown. If you're in that 4th and 3 situation, you go down there and you score a touchdown. That way, the Chiefs have to score a touchdown, and you go to a second overtime or you get the ball back if that's what you wanted. But to go and get the ball first and say, we're going to kick a field goal, hey, defense, you've played great all night, but Mahomes, game on the line, who's kind of like Jordan, game on the line, go and stop Michael Jordan, game on the line, that's kind of dumb. Like, that's really dumb. So do I like Kyle Shanahan being aggressive? Like I said on that 4th quarter, early in the 4th quarter, like, yeah, I like you being aggressive in that scenario. But at the same time, if you're aggressive in that scenario, be aggressive on that 4th down call near the end of the 4th quarter to go and waste time and go potentially kick a field goal, or go be aggressive in OT to freaking go put a touchdown on the board. It's really hard to stop Mahomes, especially when he's getting going, especially when the game is on the line. So there was a lot of questionable decisions from Kyle. This is not your first time. This is not your second time. And the biggest issue I have is that we obviously know Kyle Shanahan doesn't take hold himself accountable. But that's the thing. Everybody's like, maybe we should have an offensive coordinator. Maybe you should bring a new OC. Maybe we should bring an assistant head coach to talk to Kyle, or whatever the case may be. And I'll say it honestly, as long as Kyle Shanahan is here, he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. No matter what rooms he walks into, he thinks he's the smartest. So it doesn't matter who you bring in. It doesn't matter if you bring in Bill Belichick. It doesn't matter if you bring in freaking whoever, right? It doesn't matter if you bring the President of the United States. If you bring whoever to the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan is the smartest guy in the room, regardless of who's there. So it doesn't matter who you bring in. The only real alternative is if you decide to move off Kyle. Because Steve Wilkes, like, I think he's great, but people are throwing out, should the Niners bring in Bill Belichick to be the defensive coordinator? Yeah, Kyle Shanahan is really going to allow a 6-time Super Bowl winning coach to be his defensive coordinator. That's really what Kyle Shanahan is going to let him bring in with his ego and you know, he's not going to let that happen. So, like, Bill Belichick is not coming to the Niners. Like, that's never going to happen. And bringing in an assistant head coach or letting someone call OC, let someone be the OC, like Kyle Shanahan, he has too big of an ego to let that happen. So the problem, like, if the Niners win a Super Bowl, it'll be with Kyle Shanahan. And if it's not with Kyle Shanahan, there's no such thing as Kyle Shanahan and him having an OC or him having an assistant head coach or him having someone else. It'll either be Kyle Shanahan or it'll be someone else. I like Ben Johnson. Like, I'm not saying fire Kyle Shanahan this year, because I don't think Ben Johnson's gonna come to the Niners, but he got retained by Detroit. But I don't know if it's just me personally, but Kyle Shanahan hasn't been able to get it done, and I'm not blaming him completely.
He don't have to get it done. I mean, he's already a made man. He already got re-upped by York. He doesn't have to win as long
But
as
as like a fan, right? As a fan, right? Like,
Yeah.
I get it, right? And I get why Jed York probably won't fire Kyle Shanahan because ticket sales are up. They made what, like merchandise? They made like what, 10 million? I don't know how much they made off revenue, off like merchandise revenue in like the last week. But as a fan, right? And I wasn't around for like those old Super Bowls, but when I heard from Eddie DeBartolo and those guys, like I still remember this because I watch this stuff for fun. I watch documentaries and NFL films and things like that for fun. Like that's just what I do, right?
Hell yeah.
I remember watching, like, they lost to the Cowboys 2 years in a row. And what does Eddie DeBartolo go out and do? He says, I'm going to go get Deion Sanders. Let me go get Deion Sanders. I want to win the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan, and I'm not saying, like I said, I don't think it's all his fault. But this has been 3 times now where he's had a 10-plus point lead. And he hasn't been able to get it done. Whether it's been him as an OC, whether that's been him as a head coach, whether that's, he hasn't been able to get it done.
And then each time he stopped running, each time he stopped doing like
made the same mistake, and the problem. Go ahead.
Each time it's like he made the same mistake. It feels like.
And the problem is that Kyle Shanahan doesn't learn from that mistakes. It's cool to make mistakes, right? We're human. We make mistakes, but if you don't learn from your mistakes. And like even Kyle Shanahan was like, I had a good game plan coming in. It was all great. It just didn't work out. Like, no, dude, Kyle, if something's not working out, you fix it. This is not your first rodeo. It's your third rodeo, right? And that's the thing that's so frustrating is this team literally had it. Like, if you really think about it, there was no Jimmy G holding you back. There was no Tyreek Hill on that other side of that offense like that Chiefs game. This game was literally set up for you to win. Like, I'm not saying that you should have been favorites, but you had the better team, and you played like, for 3.5 quarters, you played like the better team. And the Chiefs were struggling. You lost because obviously self-inflicted wounds, but there was multiple times offensively where you should have, and you could have capitalized offensively and scored touchdowns on the board and put field goals up. And yet, 3 and outs, and your defense was doing all they could. I can't be mad at the defense because the defense played their part. Kyle, you lacked yesterday, and that's an issue. And the problem is,
no doubt. I mean, sorry, I got to jump in. You just went on an awesome 15-minute monologue. You killed it.
Go ahead, bro.
And Kyle, he was out coach. Spagnuolo stole his lunch money and took him to town. That's the way I looked at it. Kyle did not have the answers for Spag's blitzes, which was very disappointing at this point. And now that we're 48 minutes in, I'm going to mention it. The refs were not the reason the Niners lost this game. The Niners made too many mistakes. That being said, it's okay to point out that the refs sucked. I don't know how Bill Vinovich is allowed to referee in the Super Bowl. I mean, you can go down my Twitter timeline. There's numerous clips of these Niners defensive linemen being bear hugged, being just held, and no flag was thrown.
Not one.
The Kansas City tackles were the most penalized tackles in all of the NFL. Not a flag was thrown, and they were there. The holds were on tape. So I just had to mention it because even that makes me more sick. But I want to make sure that I'm clarifying. The refs weren't the reason the Niners lost this game. That being said, I thought they were awful. Shame on you, Bill Vinovich. If I ever see you, I'm just going to have a conversation.
Be careful, baller. Be careful.
No,
We're going to have a very nice conversation, Bill.
We're just going to have a talk. I'm going to say, hey, Bill, come here. I got to show you some clips and tell me why the hell isn't this a hold when Nick Bosa's being bear hugged or Javon Hargrave is being grabbed from behind as Mahomes is trying to escape the pocket, or on one of those blitzes Amin was pointing out.
Fred Warner.
It was Fred Warner got tackled by Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon tackled him. And it's like Warner would have got there right as Mahomes was throwing. It was there were egregious holds that were not called. That being said, the Niners made too many mistakes. And when you're playing the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, you can't make all those mistakes, but it was frustrating to see. I'm watching it live, fellas, and I'm getting out of my chair saying they're holding them, and
Yeah.
there wasn't a flag that was thrown.
Hey,
Yeah, I
real
want to.
quick,
I
I
do
thought
want to
that
give. Oh, go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say real quick. I thought that third quarter, we've all heard it, the multiple 3-and-outs, and I think CMC only touched the ball, or I should say he only rushed the ball one time out of those 9 plays, and it's like it's deja vu. We talked about the same stuff with Shanahan. He don't run the ball enough, right? I do want to give credit though to the Chiefs defense. CMC's longest run was only 11 yards. They did I think they only allowed 3.4, 3.6 yards per carry. So they did a good job in slowing down the running game, but I think you still have to run 3.6. If you do that 3 times in a row, hey, 3rd and 1, you give it to Juice, that's a first down. So I still think you should have ran the ball more often, Kyle. But it's the same thing that we've all said all year, and we've mentioned all season that this team is front running. This 49ers team loves to front run. If we don't get a big lead in the game, we let teams like this stay in range to come back, and that's basically what happened. We didn't run the ball enough. We allowed the Chiefs to stay in the game, and this is what happens. Oh, and I want to mention one more thing. When your best players, when our best players only have what? Kittle, where was Kittle at? I know he had that big play, but it was a penalty, so it came back. But Kittle only had 2 catches for 4 yards. Deebo Samuel, he was targeted 11 times, but only had 3 catches. I mean,
With
that's
a bad hand, with a bad
terrible.
hammy.
With the bad hammy,
Wouldn't that be the place to go to is Kittle, just with the Kansas City
right?
defense? Like it feels like that was almost like the glaring.
What about Juwan?
So is that
What about
Shanahan's
Juwan was
fault?
freaking awesome.
Is that Brock's not fine? Is that Brock not looking for Kittle? Is that Shanahan's fault for not calling up plays where Kittle is the number 1 option? Whose fault is that?
Watching the game, I'm going to go back and watch it a couple times, but just watching it, when I don't see the rhythm there, that just and with the players, it just to me that always feels like coaching on just what's being called. Maybe just it feels I don't know. I truly don't know, but
Is it Shanahan's fault that there were 8 incompletions between Purdy and Debo? I don't know how that's Shanahan's fault. I mean, Purdy
No,
did
there
have
were some off
15
throws. There were some
incompletions.
tip balls. Hey, we're playing the
Yeah.
number 1 defense. So obviously props to Kansas City Chiefs. Like
Yeah.
look at the game we played versus the Browns and the Ravens. But I do want to give Brock props just being as composed and still making some of those throws, or the Chris Conleys. There were some guys who stepped up. That trick play was amazing. You know what I'm saying? And going for it on 4th and 3, and even some of CMC's tough runs. Just putting their heart on the line. But it didn't look. Brock wasn't making these boneheaded plays. It looked like our team, our players were trying their guts out. I always, when I'm talking to people, I'm always like, hey, I could fully respect the loss when I know we gave it like our best shot and it wasn't because of effort and we really just put everything on the line. And I thought we did that, but I think it came down to, and I'm not even hella mad about like a Luter Jr. or a CMC fumble because football things happen. When you're in combat and you got people coming from all angles and it's coming hard, like stuff happens. Even a Jimmy Garoppolo overthrow. You know what I'm saying? It's just those kind of things happen in the NFL. But when it's like clock management and you're not trying to take advantage of getting 3 points before halftime and you lose by what? 3 point, whatever we lost by, or when it's not knowing a rule or it's not running 2 times on 3rd and 4, to me, those are the things that's just like, nah, man, you got to do what it's like we've seen it so many times as 49er fans. So that's my thing. If I were to put the biggest blame, and I hate blame game and I hate all that kind of stuff, but it comes back to coaching. Kyle, once again, got out coached. And for him having the arrogance as the smartest guy in the room, that's also another thing that really bugs me. It's like you need to be humbled, bro. If I see one, I hope nobody goes to Cabo. I hope nobody goes to Cabo. And I hope they kind of start throwing up little white flags, like not white flags, but just like, nah, we ain't good with this no more. Like it was all fun and games with the walkout games that were coming out, slapping the boombox. It's all cool. The little Wayne after 2019, it's all good. It's all fun. But at some point in time, hopefully it really matters as much to them as it does us. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, man, the 49ers, since I was a kid, man, it kind of lightweight saved my life, man. Even having the Niners in my life, just where I come from, I could have went a completely different route. And so I value the Niners like that. I love them like that for that reason. It's in me. It's, since my first memories, it means something to me. And sometimes it doesn't feel the same. And hey, that's the beauty in it. We're all different. We all come from different cloths, and hopefully they get it together and level up. And that's all I could do is just sit here and hope and be faithful and rock with it and move
For
forward.
for all of Shanahan's flaws, he's still the most successful. He's still the most successful coach this century.
It don't mean a thing without the ring, Jay. It don't mean a thing without the ring. And
He's
I'm
still
gonna
the
be
most
honest.
successful.
And I'm gonna be honest with you.
In the 2000s.
As much as you want to say,
I could argue Harbaugh, but go ahead, Baller. Or go ahead.
He's been to the Super Bowl twice, 3 NFC championships.
He hasn't come up with it, right? At the end of the day, right? Like I'm not like I think Kyle Shanahan's I think he's a top 10 head coach in the league, right? And I think he's a freaking phenomenal play designer, offensive designer, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like McVay and Kyle Shanahan, who dominates McVay in the regular season, who's like 7-0, who is on streaks beating him in the regular season. McVay lost in the Super Bowl, and then he came back and he won in the Super Bowl, right? And at the end of the day, right, like that Super Bowl is what defines you. That's what separates you, right? Like Trent Dilfer is a nobody if he doesn't win that Super Bowl, but he won the Super Bowl, right? So it's Trent Dilfer. Doug Williams, who's a good quarterback, like he won the Super Bowl, right? That 1 year in Washington. So people remember, hey, Doug Williams won the Super Bowl for Washington. Kyle Shanahan and this team, like as much as it's cool, like I was thinking about it, right? Like you look at that Lions comeback in the NFC Championship game. That's great. It's amazing, right? But at the end of the day, if you look at 2024, what's going to be remembered is the Chiefs won back-to-back. It's not going to be, the Niners made a comeback, or the Niners had all these players that went over 1,000 yards and that broke records. It would literally be the Chiefs went back-to-back. It doesn't matter what the Niners did this year. People don't remember. People don't care about how great of a play designer you are. People don't care about, you win the most regular season games, or you win divisions, you win conferences. Either you win the Super Bowl or you don't, right? And either you are the winner or you're the loser, right? And nobody remembers who comes second place. I can't name you who came second place in 2 years ago Super Bowl. I don't remember that, right? But we do remember who won the Super Bowl. The Rams won the Super Bowl, right? Or we do remember who does win. We remember the first place, and the Niners just haven't been able to get it done. 2019, you could say, you know what, Jimmy Garoppolo, they still came this far. They blew the lead. It was unacceptable. The Niners played better, and they still lost. And am I blaming it all on Kyle? No. But when you do make mistakes and you yet still choose not to hold yourself accountable, that's the problem.
Insanity.
He doesn't have to. Jed York doesn't demand that of him, so he doesn't have to.
I know, but at the end of the day, even players, right? Even players right now, I'm sorry, but it's even pissing me off even more. On social media earlier today, there's guys responding to Sauce Gardner about I think Jared Brown was like, "You're not even on our level." Travarius Ward was like, "Hey, go worry about your Jets. You ain't on our level. We're better. Go worry about your."
That's part of the problem. I mean, this team thinks they've already arrived.
Right? That's a problem.
They think they've already arrived.
And that's also another problem. Is that your coach isn't holding himself accountable. So forget about holding the whole team accountable. If you ain't holding yourself, it starts from yourself first off. So if you ain't holding yourself accountable, forget about holding other guys in the room accountable. But then your team is out here posting on social media and arguing with haters and crap. And it's like, dude, that's all garbage. At the end of the day, that's all garbage. You didn't win anything. You haven't won anything yet, right?
So Shanahan should be fired
on social media.
No,
I'm not saying this year because I don't know who you bring in. But if Ben Johnson's available next year, I think you bring in Ben Johnson, because it's not okay. As much as I said it real quick, Kelts, Kyle Shanahan's great, but he's not just going to be an OC. And he's not going to want an assistant head coach or an offensive coordinator, and he's definitely not going to be an OC himself. And one thing we've learned about Kyle Shanahan being a head coach and an offensive play caller is that he doesn't learn from his mistakes, and Kyle Shanahan thinks he's always right. So there's no solution to the problem. It's the same thing, expecting a different outcome.
People automatically assume if Kyle is out of the equation, you immediately go back to Tom Sula and you immediately go back to Chip Kelly. The truth is, none of us know. We could, hey, there's a dude that's unknown right now that can be one of the greatest leaders, and we don't know unless that guy gets an op. And that's the truth. None of us truly know. Now, we can let fear and being scared of the unknown and possibilities dictate and all the analytics in the world, this, that, and the other. But minus Kyle doesn't automatically mean we suck. Kyle has done what he has done, and he has built this thing in an amazing way. Big props to the way of what Kyle has done. Now, does he got the clutch gene to get over the top? I'll say this. You could say players like Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Patrick Mahomes. You can never bet against those guys. Well, there's the flip side. Kyle Shanahan, you can always bet against him. Every big game, you can almost write it down right about now. He has proved that you can bet against him, and so if that's the case, I'm a type of guy that wants to take a shot on the Trey Lance. And with the comment about two mediocre quarterbacks, if you throw on the all 22 and if you really dive into it, Brock Purdy is far above mediocre. That's what I see. That's what I feel. So this isn't about Brock. But that's a reason why I wanted to take a shot on Trey Lance is I'd rather take a shot with the unknown to see if we could get it done than just sit there having how many times do we got to have the door slammed in our face? I'd rather not get that close. I'd rather not get that close every single freaking time and know that we can be bet against because we're going to just not run the ball or we're not going to know the clock or we're going to fold like a cheap tent under pressure or whatever happens. Think about Cabo or whatever it is. Distractions. There's something that's always been a little bit off when it's the big moments with Kyle.
The same things that Amin has said and Kels have said is the same stuff. Not 100%, but basically what's been said about Andy Reid when he was in Philly. 3 NFC Championship games. Went to the Super Bowl.
Kyle is not Andy. Kyle is not Andy, and
they were in the same situation. That's what I'm referring to. Basically, Andy Reid just can't get it done. He's been super successful. He just can't get it done. Let's get rid of him. Okay. It worked in the short term, right? They got Doug Peterson, whatever, and then the Eagles won it. Okay, whatever. Then they end up firing him. There was a comment earlier where someone said, "Well, maybe Jed York wants Shanahan to be like Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh." Which, okay, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I just feel like the same things that you guys have said is said about Andy Reid. He can't get it done. He can't get it done. He goes to KC. He gets his quarterback.
What did it take,
and he wins.
But if you really think about it, we think Brock Purdy's the quarterback. We think Brock Purdy's that guy, and he wasn't able to get it done, right? And
you said it earlier. You said it earlier. He had to let Mahomes. One of the greatest things I ever seen Steve Kerr, dude. One of the greatest things I ever seen him do was, if you guys remember the shot, I don't know if you guys do, but it was versus the Clippers. Steph Curry's running, doing figure eights. Yeah. He's doing some wild stuff that you don't want to see high school players do, but Steph is Steph. And he does the step back 3 with guys all in his face. And Steve Kerr, what the heck are you? Yes. Like, yeah, dude. Like, yeah, you do that. And I think it was Lowell Cone. I think it was Grant's dad who asked him afterwards. Like, after that game, he was breaking it down with them. And, just watching, you could almost see Steve Kerr learn in that moment. Like, dang, maybe I got to put some of my pride aside and let my guy cook. Just the trust. And when you really do that, it's special, man. That's that special. It comes down to relationships,
and
man.
That's what Reid lets Mahomes
we could go back to Montana and Dwight Clark and Walsh and all the greats of the greats. And a lot of the times it's going to come down to a great relationship. That's the extra X factor, whatever that relationship is, whether it's be your faith or best friends or whatever it is, man. And it feels like there's always been some awkwardness with Kyle and relationship. whether it's with media or even some of the players, like you know, whether it's with dog houses or not playing rookie or just something. There's always a little something that just feel a little off, and hopefully he continues to do better because he's probably going to stick around. That's just it seems like that's the direction it's headed in. I'm gonna
That is the
always
direction it's headed in.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
always rock with my Niners. Hey, unless all the players, hey, who knows? But it would take the players to like throw up a white flag for a whole year and have like a horrible losing season or some shit for maybe Jed to be like, you know, kind of look at the clock, look at the analytics. Oh shit, the money's keep dropping. Oh man, they ain't let hey, the money's dropping. These fans are really fed up this time. They ain't buying as much merch. Players are mad. You know, you can't let everybody go in free agency, you know. So it would take something off the hook to happen. That's probably not gonna happen. But that's what makes it almost hurt worse because these players be fighting, man. We got a squad, bro. We got a squad of dogs, and it just sucks that it feels like it's things that are correctable that are kind of in the way of it. It's just if you keep coming up just short by inches, it's like it's those little things. And like I said earlier, like the bounce off looter, the CMC, like football stuff's gonna happen. I could kind of almost live with that. It's still heartbreaking, but when it's unexcusable things like clock management, and you've been in this league a long time since a little boy watching your dad win Super Bowls with Ed McCaffrey and the Broncos, and when you've been around it this long, you should know all that stuff without you know, it should just, you know, bang, bang, bang. But yeah, it's frustrating. What up, chat? What up, Tile Rob? What up, Mitchell and Ness? All you guys, even Jim Everett the Great. Much love to you guys. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've been critical of Kyle Shanahan. I blame the offense. I didn't put this loss on the defense. I put it on the offense, and I don't think the game plan was good against Spags. Spags outcoached Kyle. I think we're going, in my opinion, and you guys all have your own. I think we're going a little too far with the Kyle bashing. It sounds like three of you want to fire him right now. It's just the vibes I'm getting. And
I say keep him. I say keep him.
I ain't baller. I ain't saying
what I listened to the last 15 minutes. It sounds like you guys want to fire.
Baller, the only exception I'm making, no, the only exception I'm making
to get better. Kyle needs to improve. You want to fire him and hire Ben Johnson, is what you just said. I mean,
that's the only exception that I'm making. Yes.
Okay.
Because what I've seen from Ben Johnson, what he's done in Detroit with Jared Goff, he literally had the Niners defense on their feet that whole entire first half. And a little bit in that second half, and then Dan Campbell started getting extra aggressive and started calling things. Otherwise, if we're really sitting up here thinking about it, if Dan Campbell was just a little bit more safe and a little bit more calculated with his risks, they probably would have made it to the Super Bowl. And if not, I won't even throw it out there. They probably, if the way that Mahomes and their Chiefs team played on Sunday, they might have even been able to beat the Chiefs.
You fire Kyle. You'll have at least a dozen teams that are willing to fire their head coach and hire him immediately.
And that's fine.
Kyle needs to be better.
Personally, I don't care who. Man, I look at it like this. If I had a lot of money, if I had to put a lot of money right now, and I'm not a betting man, but if I had a big chunk of money, I'm betting against the Niners next year. Hey, and y'all know me. I love to be Mr. Optimistic. It's finally our year. There ain't nothing stopping this one, especially this year. 2019, it was much more hopeful. It was new. Holy shit, we're here. And we could really pull this off. Oh, we didn't get it. Damn, we could have done things to get it. This year, it's like, oh, nah, bro. Zero excuses. And then it came back to Kyle, in my opinion. So for me, I'm over here just, you know, next year going into it, I don't feel like it's us. We got CJ Stroud's with a great leader in D'Amico Ryans over there. We got Mahomes coming back. We got a few other squads that are itching to get to the same spot, you know.
Kelts and Jay, you said it, Jay. You said Andy Reid, the same thing we're saying right now. Me and Kelts is the same thing I said about Andy Reid in Philadelphia. It took him 15 years, and he had to find arguably the greatest quarterback talent I've ever seen in my entire life. The greatest quarterback in my life that I've ever seen. And I still think by the time Mahomes' career is over, he'll go down as the greatest quarterback ever, especially if he gets a couple more rings, just based off what Mahomes is able to do, right? And has Andy Reid grown and developed, and has he loosened a little bit? He was a lot like Kyle, right? But now he lets Mahomes do his thing. He lets Mahomes have those Curry-like plays. But I'm not waiting another 15 years. This roster is getting older, and I was honestly thinking about it. Maybe it was just this year's playoffs, you could say, but the Packers, we got lucky against the Packers. So let's just be real. We made plays when it mattered, but it wasn't like we played better than them. The Packers are gonna get better. Jordan Love is gonna improve and he's gonna develop. The Lions got Jared Goff and their defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn back. If they have Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, they gave the Niners work. And I'm not saying you could say the defense effort, whatever, but the Lions were working the Niners. The Niners weren't playing good in their last 2 playoff games. Not the Packers and the Lions both honestly could have beaten the 49ers. They're only going to get better. The Cowboys,
They didn't. But they didn't. They didn't. They didn't.
But they didn't. Fine. But there's all. But like, if we're realistically speaking into it, if we're realistically thinking about it, right? Like they didn't. But
Niners could have beat the Chiefs yesterday, but they didn't. Niners looked better for the Chiefs for 40 minutes of that game, but they didn't.
Hey,
I know, but if you can't get past your own conference, right? If you can't get past your own conference,
losing to a bunch of schmucks, right? Kyle's losing to schmucks. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, these guys suck. Fire Kyle. Right? I mean.
Nah, I feel it. Hey, I hear it. Hey, is there any? I don't think it's gonna happen today for whatever reason, but is there anything going down with the Lakers? I mean, there's no other news. I'm just trying to brighten the situation. Wait,
hey, I think. Hey, just real quick. I think the last 7 to 10 years, this will be known as the Pat Mahomes decade. This will be known as Tom Brady's known. He's got 7 rings. Hey, we didn't win. Well, we had to go up against Brady and the Patriots. I think this will become. The Chiefs do have a dynasty. I think this will become. Could the Niners have done things differently? Of course. It's always easy to say
Solomon Thomas.
Did that. You said what?
Solomon Thomas.
Ron the bowler. He's an OG. He's watching the show. He just texted me. That little Akeem dude is furious, and I don't blame him. Everybody is losing faith in Shanahan. So, hey, shout out my boy Ron. He feels you. I mean, he feels your pain.
You had a great topic, Kelts. Moving forward, I would love to know how you guys think we will move forward. I just think real quick, Shanahan's not going to change. There's no reason for him to change. He already got his extension. Right. He's the big man on campus. Jed loves him, and Jed is okay with the team being relevant and being successful. And I just don't think he'll change. Can we get better in offensive line? Yes.
A1 Jones. That was last year. My bad.
Do we really think the Niners are going to draft an offensive lineman in the first round? Hell no.
And then if we do, we might redshirt him. So
we're gonna draft a right tackle. We're gonna draft a left tackle and say we need you to play right, and we'll train you to do it with our best offensive line coach in the NFL. That's what we're gonna do. Like I don't think much is going to change. Really, I don't see it. Maybe Brock will be better next year, another season. I think he'll be better. I mean, Debo, yeah, he was banged up, but
hey, wait. So I'm going to ask this again, and I'm going to answer it with a special thing. So, do we think that anything's going to change? My sermon in the morning, no. There it is.
But the thing is, we are successful. We'll be in the playoffs next year. I mean, we'll be in the hunt.
Jay, will we know? Jay, honestly speaking, the last time the Niners made the Super Bowl in 2019, they were filled with the 2020 season where they were riddled with injuries. Like, even then, that's not a guarantee. Like, if healthy, I think so. But
you know what I did think this year, though? Or when it actually ended the Super Bowl, I was just like, dude, we figured out a way how to get even closer. Like, I was explaining it to my son. It's like we went from, like, this close to, like, this close, dude. Like, how do you get no close? Like, we were I mean, there was 7 seconds left, and it's like if they don't convert that right then and there, like, man, bro, it's like it was unbelievable. We
didn't mention, and not on purposely, I don't think, but we didn't even mention Dre Greenlaw, the freak injury, and he was having a hell of a start to the game. And let's be real, we've seen the Achilles injury. Klay Thompson had it, KD had it, like. It zaps your quickness, your get off, basically. So we got to look for another middle linebacker. I know there's D Winters, there's Jalen Graham, but we probably have to get another linebacker. I mean,
Oren Burks was pissing me off. Oren Burks was late to the flat multiple times where Mahomes could just check it to Pacheco, and it was an easy 5, 7, 9 yards because we were late getting to the flat. Dre Greenlaw would have popped him. It's a gain of 1 or 2, but
God, and how furious he was, man. That boy was coming to. He was doing exactly what Steve Young said. I think he said it to Kruger. You know, you got to take it with bloody hands, and that's exactly what he looked like. I am coming to take this, and everybody says it, man. He is the heartbeat on that defense, and it's you know he's kind of like the CMC on defense or the Debo, you know, and man, it's just frustrating. Hella, and so man, my you know, I rewatched the clip, you know, my brother-in-law showing it to me, and he slowed it down. I was like, he right there, right, like I was like right there, Achilles, like you just see it, and it just heartbreaking, bro. It's like but
and he was on the injury report for an Achilles like for quite a while, right?
I think so. I think so. So it was.
So I'm wondering if it was that same one that maybe there was like a microscopic tear that he was playing. I shouldn't make assumptions, but it was devastating.
But you know what? I do want to say, because you know it's easy for us to just, you know, not just us but all fans to screw McKivitz and this and that and and you know, I hate to ever say trash or any of those things because these guys made it for a reason. So, you know, I like to, you know, just put respect on their name. Hey, man, big props, Colton McKivitz. It looked like you gave it all you got this year. I didn't see some massive low lights, you know, protections break. Now, Burford, that was frustrating watching Feliciano go down. But we have all been talking about we got to shore up the offensive line. You can't just keep getting it away. Why did the Detroit Lions have success versus us? I'm looking it up at halftime. Yeah. Man, how much did they invest in their offensive line? Because they look pretty damn good. First rounder, third rounder, first rounder. Like, no wonder why they invested in it. With this with the new football, the way that football is just continuing to be, you know, just newer in offense and protection, and don't touch the quarterback and not calling holding. You know, maybe we had it right 6, 7 years ago to build, you know, the defensive line no matter what. And then look, we took Solomon Thomas and not Patrick Mahomes. A lot of other teams messed up on it too, but that's just the truth. It's a fact. You know, you can only you got to invest in other parts of your team. You just got to, especially protecting the most important position on the field.
Hopefully the Niners prioritize that this offseason, but I think they're going to have to shed some salary. You know, Armstead, will Juice be back? I mean, Debo, they already signed him, but it's like, is he worth the salary he's getting based on his performance this season? I mean, if you really have to think about it, it's probably not there.
Ayuk just came out with his Instagram tweet. I don't know if you guys seen that.
What did he say?
He said, remember what got you there with eyes.
And then not to mention, Kels, I was just about to say that, but not to mention even like,
does that mean, hey, y'all didn't feature me in the Super Bowl?
No, but even
that's what I'm thinking.
Even Ayuk's girl was like, this might be the last time we walk in a Levi's. She said something like that. There's a clip on.
Wow.
Like, this might be the last. And even Brandon Ayuk's brother came out on Insta and he was like, I'll read it to y'all. He's like, this is exactly the reason why we leave in San Francisco. Thank you 49ers for drafting my brother. We are forever grateful. BA to Vegas. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that means you want to go to the Raiders, but that's kind of sad.
I want to hear
if he don't want to be
30
here.
For 30, I want to hear 30 for 30 or whatever. Or I don't know if that's what it's called, but I want to hear Jimmy Garoppolo elaborate about the weird stuff. I want to really know what he was talking about when Trey Lance got traded, and he was like, "There's a lot of weird stuff over there."
Real quick, lastly,
I want to hear some of those background stories. Go ahead.
Real quick, he says, "Why does your All-Pro 1,300-yard receiver have 3 catches in the Super Bowl?" And that's what it finishes with.
Because he knows he was dicing it up all year, all training camp, putting his heart on the line. Like,
he was targeted 6 times, and I don't know about you guys, but I thought the Chiefs secondary was really good in that game.
Yeah,
I don't know, but if Ayuk doesn't want to be here and a team is willing to offer up a first-round pick, I mean, who says no? If he says I don't want to be here, you guys don't feature me enough,
It
Hey,
is
I
what it
mean,
is at that point. It is. I mean, that's just unless it's bargaining. Who knows?
No,
Who
I'm
knows?
not trading him. Brandon Ayuk is under contract still for
I
another
love
year,
AU.
and then I'll if he wants to leave, too bad. I'll franchise tag you, which I
you
know.
want to keep a disgruntled player?
No, if he's disgruntled, if he seriously doesn't want, because now that's wife, brother, and
When the
him posting on
family,
social media.
yeah, when the family starts saying stuff, where do they
What
get
about
that from? They're
Debo?
getting that
What
from the
did
player.
Debo say? What did Debo say loud? What did Debo's brothers say? Oh, we out of here. Oh, we
We outta here.
leaving. What is?
Laugh
Come
it
on,
out.
come
Yeah.
on, guys.
Hey.
I mean, it's in the moment. Yeah, BA
Right.
should have got targets.
He's
Yeah.
He
pissed.
probably should have out targeted Debo
Deep ball me.
Samuel with the way the Chiefs were playing with heavy blitzes, one-on-one man-to-man coverage. Who would you rather throw the ball
Ayuk.
to?
Ayuk.
It's
I'm not
BA.
gonna lie,
Yeah.
Debo. I don't think he gets that great separation. I don't think he's that great of a separator. I think he's whatever as a pure receiver. I think he's whatever.
Especially on one leg.
Yeah.
Hey, I was looking real quick. The free agents upcoming. Just give me a yes or no. Will this player be back? These are the upcoming free agents here for the Niners. Randy Gregory.
No.
Will he be back? I want him back, but I think he's probably going to get priced out. Chase Young.
No.
No, especially after that Super Bowl. Heck no.
We need some.
Sam Darnold. You bringing Sammy back?
Nah,
I don't want to, but
that's what it was. You see, it was the hidden thing that no one talked about. The ghost, man. There was the ghost was looming, and it just took the Super Bowl straight for. See that bad juju. All right, go ahead, Baller.
And then Javon Kinlaw.
Nope.
Outpriced.
Yeah,
he's gonna get outpriced.
Javon. He played pretty good this year. He outperformed my expectations. But that's a guy. I feel like if you pay him, you bring him back, then the knee flares up. Then it's like,
yeah, that's scary.
That is scary. He fooled you.
Yeah.
Tayshaun Gibson. I'm ready to upgrade Tayshaun. I was surprised.
We're gonna have Jair and Hufanga. Hey, Jair and Hufanga. Hey,
I like that.
Big props to Jair.
Did you see how much Gibson was matched up with Travis Kelce? He was lining up on Kelce.
No, Gibson should have had that pick. He should have how do you
He gave up on the route. He gave up on the route.
What are you looking at? He was turning on backwards. I'm like, what are you staring at? Like
that was bad.
I was looking at the top of the dome. He's like, oh, you got a dome up in here. Like, what are you looking at?
It looked like he gave up on the route. But unfortunately, it didn't really hurt us. I mean, but
yeah, I'm not. I'm just gonna name some names. You tell me who you. I'm gonna name a bunch of names. Tell me who you want back because all these guys could go. To be honest with me, except for Jawan. Jawan's coming up here, but it's Oren Burks, Cleveland Farrell, Feliciano, Givens, McLeod, Flanagan, Foles, Dwelly. Chris Conley, Logan Ryan, Jawan, Charlie Warner.
I think you bring back Farrell most likely because he'll be an easy 1 year vet man. He's coming back from injury. He was good. You bring him back.
Farrell.
Of course, Dewan Jennings got to come back.
Did you say Jennings?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you gotta bring Jennings back. You have to.
I want Jennings back. I'm worried it's going to be a Kendrick Bourne situation.
Well, watch him get
but he's restricted though. He's restricted.
From the Panthers.
I wonder what Jawan could do if he was featured more, man. Because I mean, he doesn't got blazing speed, but just possessional wise, and every time that man get the ball, he feel like he's pushing someone off, and he
needed it more. He needed more
man.
Targets, dude. He needed the rock. He was playing like a dog,
And I'm excited.
The touchdown pass.
Mitchell and Ness, I think I just said it a second ago, but I'm excited to see if that's how it's going to go. Hufanga and Jair Brown. I'm pretty sure that's the direction. I can't wait to see that combo. Assuming that Hufanga is going to come back with, and be even better.
Were you guys surprised about Ambry Thomas? Got benched?
So I don't even remember Ambry, so maybe that's
honestly, I didn't know live, but that's what I heard. I was like, "What, really?"
It was.
That's why it was Logan
Lenore was outside. That's why Logan Ryan was on the field so much. It was Logan Ryan.
Right.
Okay. Because I was thinking about it. I didn't notice it in the game, but then I was like, wait, I haven't heard Ambry Thomas get called for a PI or nothing like that. So I'm like, did Ambry Thomas catch the bus to Vegas or something like that? Did he make it in the stadium? What's happening right now?
They didn't trust him in the big moment.
Hey, I gotta give props to one dude though. It's like Jawan Jennings. If we won, I would probably give him MVP. But Chris Conley, he made that one catch on third down, which was huge. And then the special teams, he was on point from the go. Pin like he got that one where Mitchell Wishnowsky punted it like inside like the 2 yard line. He gets it. The 2 tackles on Richie James, like he was on it in special teams. He was a dog. He gave his 110%. You got to give Chris Conley his props. He was on point in special teams.
Like Kelt says, some guys rise up, and that's what Conley did.
That's up, yee! Let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah, for real, man. I don't know. I think that's a thing that I had no idea ever. I thought I made it up all by myself, but I think Atlanta does something like that.
Oh, they do rise up.
Yeah, I think they have. So I was like, oh damn, man, it was too simple to be original, but it is what it is. I got a little southern thing, kind of. Yeah, I got a little soul to me, so
man,
it makes
sad
sense.
thing, man. That's the sad thing when you think about how much talent this team had, and they still weren't able to capitalize. Like that's how freaking like Chase Young ain't gonna be on this team next year. Who knows about Ayuk in his situation? Like, there's so many guys that are getting older. There's so many guys that might, guys are leaving, guys are gonna come, but like it's just this team was literally one of the most talented teams that the Niners have had in terms of all the guys.
How could we reload? Is there anybody in free agency that we might be able to bring to the Bay? Is there anybody that fits a mold with offensive linemen? Or I don't have nothing in front of me on who's available. But even if it's
Smith is, but he's older.
Even if it's not someone who's available, like what would be that dream pick from you guys? Like even if it's just someone like this guy, like what is that? But I'll start it off like, man, if I could redo it. And it's because I was so juiced up when it happened. But when Dawan Jones, man, I keep coming back to that because, I know we got Moody and I know we got Latu. And I mean, I hope Latu becomes something and Braden Willis. And I hope those guys, but, specifically Latu, who knows what he will be. I'm hopeful for him, but I could see him not even being on the Niners in a couple years, or if it just, or who knows. But I know that day one was there and we didn't get him and I couldn't believe it. And it's like, and that's a spot where we kind of messed up on in the Super Bowl to win it on a 3rd and 4. That's where the coverage was blown right exactly there. And when I see that stuff, I think about that. And like Amin and all of us at certain points just be pissed off. But coulda, woulda, shouldas, can't go back and do it. But if I could do it, I would want a big monster. I want a massive man. Sometimes it doesn't always got to be tricky and it doesn't fit Kyle's scheme and blah, blah. It's like, well, sometimes maybe you should mold to a mountain of a man like a Dawan Jones and pick him no matter what and let that man move people upfield. That's just me. But
that would make too much sense for the 49ers to use their draft capital to draft an offensive lineman high. That makes too much sense. There's no way they're going to do it, but the draft is going to be pivotal this offseason because there's no more Adam Peters. And, is John Lynch really that good of a GM? We'll find out. But I don't think the Niners will make any significant moves in free agency. We already have a lot of money tied up in the salary cap. I just don't see it. We're going to have to hit on the draft. But how does this team get better? If it's not, I'm talking about on the field. It's not Kyle. He's not going anywhere. But where can they really get better? To me, the guys who you rely on the most weren't productive, and that's why we lost the game. The Chiefs made plays we didn't make. When you look at the best guys on our roster, no one had a standout game. Jennings was great, okay, but we need more. If Jennings had that stat line, but you also had Debo going off, you had Kittle going off, and now you going off, then yeah, we're good. But the guys that we depend on the most on offense, they didn't have the most productive game. Like, so I don't understand. How do we get better? CMC will be a year older. I just don't see.
Feels like we try to get a burner in Danny Gray, but
he can't stay on the field.
It's like if we could get at least that threat of that. And I know Ayuk is Ayuk, but it doesn't feel like Ayuk just has blazing speed and just to at least have the threat of it, I guess. Like, I mean, I know Mahomes threw one bomb. Who was that to? Was that Scantley again?
Yeah.
Or, he caught a deep one.
No, but just it was Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman.
But just even,
Mecole Hardman.
even,
Mecole Hardman.
Oh, that's who went deep on that one.
Yeah, but he's like
Oh, that
sweet.
one where in the first
Hardman
half?
isn't Hardman a speedster?
Harman's
Like,
a
Yeah.
speedster. Yeah, he was on the Jets, and then
there
like
you go. They
he was
they
on the
they
Jets.
might have only used him like, but it
I think
was
he.
that
Yeah.
one big chunk play. You know, the 40, 50 yard or whatever it was. It
Yeah.
happened one time, but all it took was that one time to switch that 3 point. You know, to get that extra 3 points. And so I don't know, maybe that. But I would say, hey, just go to your strength. Run it to Trent Williams' side. Run
Yeah.
CMC. You don't have to throw the bomb, but then we have that strength and we didn't use it. So I
Yeah.
would say, Kyle, sometimes try to step out of your own way, and I think we could run it back, but I don't know if that's going to happen because I thought he already overcame that this year. And then we get to the Super Bowl and it didn't appear that way to me. So
Hey, I'm gonna put it like this, Scouts. If Kyle Shanahan and this team, I don't know what they're gonna do in the offseason, what happens next year. But if for the most part the guys stay healthy and Kyle isn't able to get it done next year, I'm not saying fire Kyle Shanahan this year. I wouldn't under no circumstance because I don't think there's anybody better to replace Kyle Shanahan. I think you give him an opportunity going into next year. But if Kyle Shanahan doesn't get it done next year, and this team is relatively healthy, I don't know, man. Like I'm just gonna give this reference real quick. The Bulls, before they were that championship dynasty team, before they had Phil Jackson, their head coach is Doug Collins. They made the playoffs every year. They want,
couldn't get
that
past the
their
Pistons.
hurdle was getting past the Pistons. Their 1 year with Doug Collins, they weren't able to get it done. They kept losing to the Pistons. The 1 year with Doug Collins, they lost in Game 7. It was unfortunate, but they lost in Game 7. And Jerry Krause said, Doug Collins, you're a good coach, but we're going to move on to Phil Jackson. It's a risk because you obviously took us to the conference championship. That's great, but we're going to move on to Phil Jackson. And once he made that coaching switch, the Bulls won, I think 3 championships in a row, beat Magic, beat, the Blazers, and they won 3 championships in a row. So if Kyle isn't able to get it done next year,
I'm curious
that's
how
cool.
unknown Phil Jackson was, how unknown he was before he got to the
I
Bulls.
think he was a coach. He was a coach overseas, and then he was an assistant for the Bulls because I think Jerry Krause scouted him, and then he was an assistant for the Bulls under Tex Winter. And
So
then
he wasn't oh man, you see, that's what I'm talking about. Even taking a shot on sometimes, I'm sure there's a lot of great leaders that none of us even know about, and I know it's hard to find. And some of the best leaders don't even want to do it because they know what comes with it, and I know a lot of guys like that. Lorenzo Neal, who talks on 95.7 The Game, people are always coming at him, dude. You would make an amazing coach, but his heart is so much in it. He's like, man, it would just weigh me down, man. Like I invest too much, and that's
Kels, can we get some positivity, man? What were your thoughts of the halftime show? Like, can we get some
That was
lighten up?
off the chain, man.
the
That was
Usher.
off the
My sermon.
My bad, bro.
Out of 10, what would y'all give this halftime show?
I'll probably give it a 9
That
for
was a
me.
9.
I wish it was longer. Honestly, I wish it was longer.
It was lit. It brought nostalgia. But
Baller, you're muted. Baller, you're muted.
My bad.
Because-
I'll give it an 8.5. There were a couple songs
Yeah.
that I loved. I wanted, but Usher was doing little tiny snippets.
Yeah,
Right.
Little tiny
7 o'clock.
snippets,
He
and I
said
was like,
7 o'clock, and that was it.
yeah, it was like that part. I'm not gonna say it annoyed me, but I was like, I wanted to hear it, and then it was
Right.
just like little snippets. But it was a good performance.
Nah, it was one of the better. It was one of the
I
better
like me
Super
some
Bowl
Alicia
shows.
Keys.
Wow.
That's
Usher
dope.
impressed
Hey,
me. Wow.
hell yeah!
It was one of the better Super Bowl shows. Usually, I wasn't planning on watching it, but then I was like, Usher got up on there, and then I saw some of the people that he had up in there. Ludacris came in through, and he was doing his thing. So it was one of the better halftime shows. My favorite halftime show ever. I don't know about ever, but in recent time I would probably say that rap halftime show. It was Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. I think that one
Hell
was
yeah.
that
was
one was
fire,
up
too.
there.
I like
Yeah,
the J-Lo and Shakira.
Hey, that one, yeah.
That was
That was
nice
a good
too.
one too.
I like
That
that.
was
But
good
yeah,
one,
for
too.
me and my wife, man, it was hella cool. Just growing up, just growing up on Usher, growing up on Alicia Keys. We got a few memorable songs to us that intertwined, and so we were in the living room, like we was at the Super Bowl party. We're dancing in front of people, trying to encourage the crowd. It just brought back a lot of good feelings. So
But I'm not gonna lie,
it
Kels. I'm
was
not gonna
lit.
lie. I didn't know what Usher was like. I didn't know half the Usher songs until he started going, yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah, I know this one. I know this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I know this one. Sure, but besides that, I was like, okay, I was just sitting there. But I knew
Yeah.
some of the these ones. I knew.
Since we're being, oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, since we're being super positive, we got to talk about Jake Moody. Some people in the chat are saying Jake Moody sucks. I mean, is there a chance for us to upgrade at kicker, or should Moody be competing for his spot on the roster this offseason? I mean, we got to talk about.
I mean, does
that.
it matter? Does it matter right now, Jay? Like at this point, I mean, he's gonna come back next year. Like it doesn't matter if he if he starts the season off and he's missing kicks left and right and he's missing PATs. You're like, yeah, you got to think about it. But if he comes back and he's doing his thing, like there's no reason to like worry about it. Season's over.
Yeah, I think it's Moody. Yeah, I think it's Moody.
Doesn't really make a difference.
It's Moody's job to lose. That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know. There's a lot of Moody slander out there in the chat. So I had to know how y'all felt, man. I don't know.
I just hope that we don't do no more Joe Williams in the 3rd round, no more Latu's in the. Hey, I hope Latu turns into an All-Pro. I hope Moody turns into an All-Pro. But I just hope it feels like sometimes Shanahan says to himself, why do something smart when I can be a genius? You know, that's the vibe I get. It's like, bro, just do the smart thing. Just it doesn't got to be something magical and that no one's ever thought of. And watch it work. Just sometimes
he's got to prove he's a genius. I mean, he's got to live up to that title, man.
That's how it feels like he wants to win the Super Bowl that way too. I'm going to do it it's going to be the way I did it, just like an evil scientist, bro. That's how I did it my way, bro. I really feel that way with Kyle. Like he's like, nah, bro, I'm good. I'm going to Dr. Evil this shit.
Hey, did y'all see the Arnold Schwarzenegger like that commercial? Like the State Farm. That one was good. I like that one.
Which one? I might have missed that one. I might have
the State Farm one where he was like good neighbor or something like that. He was like kept like
I missed it because I know I'd remember Arnold. I know I'd remember that one.
Baller, why you muted, man?
Hey, I think we're about to be dipping.
Sneezing. I've been sneezing and stuff. Hey, I got one free agent. I got one free agent that I think the Niners will sign, and it's going to be a reunion. I think he's coming back. I want him back. It's in part. Who'd you just say?
Aziz.
That's it. Aziz Al-Shaair, man. Man. Bring him back. We got to fill that void. You know, I think Dre's going to be out a while. Bring Aziz back. You saw he came back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? He was like, he was in the linebacker huddle kind of hyping it up pregame. So Aziz, like, he still has love for the squad. I would love to have Aziz back. You know, there's a lot of free agents that are enticing.
Who else? Didn't Solomon Thomas come back? There was a few guys that came and visited us.
Ain't nobody want no damn
actually, yeah, you're right. He did.
Did he? I didn't see him. I didn't see him.
He was there on, I think, the NFC
the
Championship
best player, but you know. I'll go ahead, Jay.
No, I was gonna say I think he was back at the NFC Championship game.
Showing love.
Because he went to he went to the same college, of course, as CMC. So you know they got to connect. Yeah. So
yeah, but Aziz for sure, I'm down with that, man. I thought you were almost gonna say Kendrick Bourne for a minute there. I don't know if he's a free agent, but
I think he is. But he's coming off. He tore his ACL.
Didn't he mention? I think he was at the Super Bowl. I think he was mentioning, you know, just his love for the Niners still and all that kind of stuff. You know, just really. Yeah,
hey, he likes Kyle. He was advocating for Kyle.
Hey, Jay, on another positive note, just like Kyle, who lost the Super Bowl to Andy Reid in 2019, I lost the Madden Bowl to Jay, and I need my revenge. So I'm ready to run it back. You know.
Oh, really?
I gotta level up. I gotta level up. You know, I gotta level up to the Bill Walsh up in here, who's barely a baller. You know, I gotta level up. But first, I gotta beat, you know, Andy Reid, and you know, so I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready for the second.
You ready? Okay. Yeah.
And then I can hit up Bill Walsh and, you know, the Hall of Famer in baller. I don't know if I'm ready for that one just yet. I got to give him the props, the respect that he deserves. We ain't on the level yet. Like baller, there's levels to this game, and baller's levels better than me right now. But Jay, I think, you know.
You think you got me? You think you got me now?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Jay. Like
Play the hell no. Play the hell no.
My sound in the morning. Hell to the no. Come on. come on, girl, no.
Listen. I got a reason.
Jay
Bro. I got a
got you.
reason,
Jay got you.
Listen. See, you got to understand some context here, right? Like, when last time I was playing Jay, just how Kyle Shanahan has Jimmy Garoppolo. My brother, I let him use my TV. It was like an old TV that I had up in my room, and my brother a couple of months ago, like not even before I played you, he like threw a controller at it, so like half the screen was kind of messed up. So I was playing.
You blaming it on the TV?
I was playing with like half a screen, but I ain't using that as an excuse, right? Like but I had Jimmy Garoppolo. I had a handcuff. I had I had something that was holding me back. And now I got this new TV, and it's nice. It's a little bit nicer. That's when I beat Kels, and it's a little bit nicer. It's a little bit of upgrade. It's a Brock Purdy, it's like the Brock Purdy of TVs, but like it's an upgrade. So I've been feeling it, man. I've been feeling it.
We should play again at maybe at least 2 games. And the first game you could pick who I play with. How about that?
Bet.
Okay. Great right, comment by Chewy. San Francisco Bills. Are we the Buffalo Bills of the 90s? 4 straight Super Bowl appearances?
We don't even get that, man. They went to 4 straight.
They went to 4. Fair.
They went to 4 straight, and like we haven't even got that one. Hey, but man,
Shanahan's going to get the opportunity though. There's no doubt about that.
It is what it is. Hey, it's been a great year, you guys. Hey, we don't know when we're going to be back. I'm sure it's going to be when. Who knows? Who knows how we're going to keep this thing? We'll talk in the back.
I'll do a little off-season
straight out of the bay. We'll
pre-draft, post-draft. Something
might take a little break. Who knows? Maybe not. Might start doing Madden tournaments live. Who knows? We might get wild with this coming up here and have some freaking fun. And who knows, man? Might try to continue to do this thing. Big props to everybody for coming through. If you guys got anything else, free agents, just anything, let it rip. Much love to everybody. Like always, it's always a pleasure and a joy and just all that stuff. It always puts me in a better mood coming and talking with y'all, letting it out and all that good stuff. Yeah, man.
Hey, love y'all like brothers. I look forward to the Monday shows every week. This feeling of disappointment that we're becoming all too familiar with. Something's got to change. We got to get over the hump, whatever that is. We got to get over the hump. We got to get it done because I'm tired of this feeling. Like I had to console for the first time my 7-year-old. He doesn't watch a ton of these football games, but the game Super Bowl was also on Nickelodeon, which he's seen some of the Nickelodeon stuff. So I had put it on the iPad for him. Dude, he was locked in, especially in that fourth quarter. He's like, he's mostly looking at the score and how much time's left in the game. But I had to console him after this game. He was shook. He was shook and tell him, hey, you know what? It's okay. And I'm saying cliche stuff like there's always next year. But it was the first time like, man, dude, it's in him. It hurts in him not now. Only, but man, the 7-year-old was shook up after this one. But hey, it was good to see him kind of watch his first game and lock in, and he's on the right path of being a Niner fan. But fellas, I love talking with you guys. The chat's been live. I think every week we get more and more people in the chat. So that tells you I think we're doing something right, and appreciate all y'all.
Hey, the feelings are mutual. Bay Area baller. Chat was live, and I love hanging out with you guys and talking about the game every Monday. I think we had a great year together. Just comment on the game, and I think the Niners. Hey, I mean, we are the first loser, I guess you could say. I think we did have a great year. Overcame a lot this season. It obviously didn't. The ball didn't fall our way, and sometimes that happens, but. Hey, Shannon, we still riding with Shanahan. He'll be back next year. He'll be the same old him, but we've been successful. We just haven't been able to get over the hump. I'm looking forward to next year. Looking forward to this offseason. Looking forward to taking a break because being a Niner fan, it takes a toll on you, man. It's tough. it's tough. But like someone said in the chat, hey, I appreciate this therapy session. I think we all needed it. And hey, still faithful to the Bay all day, every day.
I do want to just say real quick on Kyle, just before we end the show, that he did show things this year where I think he was leveling up, and so if he's capable of that, I think you can. I think I don't care if you're 70 years old. I don't believe in that hype. If you're 45 or whatever age, you're just stuck in your ways. I've seen 50-year-olds do complete 180s. It's just perception. When you really change that perception, it's you got to want it. And if you want it, you can do it. You acknowledge it, you reflect, you correct. It takes work. It really takes work. But if you're honest in that work and you really take the shot on it, you can do it. So I got faith in you, Kyle. I'll try to have, but ultimately you're a man. You're going to do what you're going to do what you're going to do. I'm almost going back on myself. You're going to do what you're going to do. But I hope you get over the hump and we go back to back to back to back. But hit it up, Amin.
The dream you cold.
What did he say? He said count something.
Right now, y'all gotta check that one out. But
yeah, all right, I seen it. I know that would get you.
I was like, wait, am I tripping right now, or like, is that actually
that's there? That's there, bro.
Y'all seriously, the last show this season, y'all decided to do that? Like, y'all decided to do that? Okay, I see how it is. Man, it's been a year, man. It's been a hell of a year. Wins, losses, adversity, ups, downs. But man, it's been a pleasure talking to y'all. It's what, two seasons now where we've done this show. One of the highlights of my week talking to y'all and seeing the chat, seeing their comments, seeing all the people that come and support us and that tune in every Monday, talking with y'all every week. One of the highlights of my week, always like, I always end it with the, bang, bang, Niner gang, go Lakers. And you can't kick me off of this one. You can't. It's the last one. Like, you got to let me say go Lakers. You can't kick me off. I can't. Not anymore. No more. Okay, y'all got to break the whole offseason. But, man, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. And it's always fun just talking ball with y'all and chopping it up with y'all, man.
Real talk, man.
Feelings mutual.
We will see y'all when we see y'all. Stay faithful. Keep it lit. Stay up, man. Because we're going to be back, man. And, hey, just because I said earlier that, it's easy to bet against us, we could easily get it done. You can hit a 180 at any time. Stay up. Stay blessed. Yee!
Straight out of the Bay. Bang, bang, Niner.
Hit it up, bro.
Bang, bang, Niner.
Bang, bang, Niner.